If you have not heard, big things are coming to Missouri Western, and I think they arrived today. Good morning. It's another great day to be a Griffin. For those of you that I do not know, my name is Brett Easley. I'm Associate Director of Athletics for External Relations here at Missouri Western, and we are so pleased that you could join us today as we celebrate the arrival of the video scoreboard that will be installed here on Craig Field at Spratt Memorial Stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for being with us here today. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize some very special guests in the audience today. When I call your name, if you'd please stand and be recognized. I know we have two Board of Governors here with us today, Al Purcell and our Vice Chair, Mr. Dave Lichty. Gentlemen, please stand and be recognized. Our co-chair of our Centennial Capital Campaign, Mr. Dan Boulware. Dan, please stand and be recognized. We also have two elected officials with us here today, our presiding county commissioner, Mr. Harry Roberts, and our presiding Eastern District County Commissioner, Mr. Dan Hausman. Gentlemen, please stand and be recognized. I would also ask any foundation board, members of the Missouri Western Alumni Association board, and our Gold Coat Club board, if you folks would please stand and be recognized. And we have several members of the President's Cabinet that are in attendance with us today. Would you please stand and be recognized? Well, thank you so much for being with us on yet another historic occasion. Well, let's turn the clock back. A little over a year ago, we gathered in the concourse of the old Spratt Stadium to celebrate the groundbreaking of the most significant renovation to this facility since it opened in 1979. We've now completed that part of the project. As you can see in this beautiful facility, the results are outstanding. This past August, we officially dedicated Craig Field, named after Stephen Craig, who is with us today, and will speak a little bit later on. Last December, Steve was again on hand as we broke ground on what will be the finishing touch to the stadium renovation project. It's a little warmer today than it was last December. We had a great crowd there that day. We have a great crowd here today. The video scoreboard, it will be the largest in NCAA Division II and rival any video scoreboard on any college campus in the nation, ladies and gentlemen. As the support piers went up, people kept asking, when is the scoreboard going to get here? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we're here today, as we're pleased to celebrate that milestone occasion. We'll have several speakers today to talk about this project and what it means to Missouri Western, beginning with our Director of Athletics, Mr. Kurt McGuffin. Kurt began his duties at Missouri Western in 2011, and under his leadership, Griffin student-athletes have achieved the highest cumulative grade point average in school history on record. 5 teams have won MIAA championships in his time here, including 2 this past academic year, and many others have competed for titles. Kurt also serves on the steering committee for the Centennial Capital Campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Director of Athletics, Mr. Kurt McGuffin.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks again, Brett, and thanks everybody for coming. I've spent most of my career up until this point at large Division I institutions. Kansas State, Colorado, Idaho, and I can tell you this, those don't have anything compared to what we're having here at Missouri Western, and we're very proud to have it. It is a big structure. I think I've talked about it before. When you've got a scoreboard that's almost 78 feet tall, in fact, if you were at the top of this building, that you would be looking at basically the top of the scoreboard, and it's down at the bottom ground level, so it's pretty big. The other thing about it is the 138 feet wide structure, but the actual video part of the scoreboard, being almost 2,500 square feet, is bigger than probably my house. So I'm very, very excited for that. And once we get that thing up and going, I know our IMC group and Ryan Minley are going to work hard once we've got the components ready, and it's going to be a very special occasion come September 1st, and if not before, but September 1st is our very first football game on Thursday. The other thing I wanted to talk about is this culmination of this event. It takes a lot of people to put something like this together. A lot of Steve's group, Chelsea and others. But there's some people that are in the background that probably don't get thanked enough for the work they did on this. And I think that's very special about being at maybe a smaller school, is that sometimes athletics or another group can't always do it, that we lean on other people. And there's some people that I would really like to thank for this event today. And that's Jomel Nichols, our Director of PR and Marketing. She led this, yeah. Jomel led this whole basically campaign, working with Steve's group and trying to get us to where this was just a thing that we were so proud of. Every stop along the way, she developed and worked on and put this together. So thank you, Jomel. Other people, Jenna Williams, for all of her graphic stuff that she's done for all of us. And Ken Heyer, my group, Brett Easley, Nick McCutcheon, Ryan Minley. You know, this takes a lot of work, and it takes everybody, and we appreciate everything that all those people did. And we're excited to when we go out here and see the taking off of one of the pieces. You know, when my kids were little, they're still little, but I used to go into their rooms at night and say, "Dream big," you know. Well, we're dreaming big at Missouri Western, and now the dreams are coming true. And I think this is going to be the final piece of our Spratt Stadium project. And when this gets up and going, we'll look towards more capital campaign projects and more things to come, because you can't sit back and relax. We're going to keep building and building towards our future. So we thanks again, Steve, and always dream big. And now we've got something bigger than that. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Kurt. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce Missouri Western's president, Dr. Robert Vardabedian. Dr. Vardabedian became president of Missouri Western in 2008. Under his leadership, there's been tremendous growth in academic programs, international student enrollment, and online courses, and the campus has greatly expanded. An academic building, a residence hall, the Griffin Indoor Sports Complex, and the Spring Sports Complex have all been constructed under his leadership. Dr. Vardabedian is a passionate supporter of student athletes. There aren't many Griffin games, home or away, where he's not in attendance, and you can hear him cheer as well. I have heard that firsthand, for sure. Great supporter. He also fully understands the value of a successful athletics program and elevating the stature of the university. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Robert Vardabedian.
Thank you very much, Brett. You know, there just aren't many opportunities where you can boast that you have the biggest and best phenomenon on your campus, and this is one of them. Yesterday afternoon, the components for the biggest and best digital scoreboard in all of NCAA Division II arrived, and actually biggest and best for a lot of Division I as well. And we're very proud to have that now on Craig Field. As the signage on one of the huge 8 flatbed trucks delivering these components indicates, you know, big things are coming to Missouri Western. So we had this going for 1,600 miles all the way from Southern California to St. Joe. You know, big things happen because of big thinkers with very big hearts, and they don't come much bigger or better on both fronts than Steve Craig. So thank you, Steve, very, very much for making this and so much more happening. Yeah, Steve corrected me on this because I attributed this quote to him that he gave in Arizona in February, "Think big or go home." He said he wasn't sure if he originated the quote, but that's Steve Craig, and this is certainly reflective of that notion. Steve and certainly other very generous donors helped make this happen, and again, they made this 1,600-mile journey from Southern California to get here. And I think we all realize that there are multiple uses for this massive digital scoreboard. You know, the most obvious, of course, is for outdoor athletics, particularly soccer and football. But believe me, the Chiefs camp will appreciate this. In fact, owner Clark Hunt, President Mark Donovan, GM John Dorsey, and Coach Andy Reid are well aware of it and are excited about it. In fact, Dan Bulwer can tell you this. A couple of years ago, we mentioned it to John Dorsey, the general manager of the Chiefs. That's all he wanted to talk about is the new scoreboard. So I think he's going to be very excited. I think the rest of the Chiefs fans and administration will be very excited about it as well. Of course, marching band competitions will take place and will benefit from that massive scoreboard. Lots of advertising opportunities, lots of information dissemination opportunities. For example, and I don't know if Marcy Bennett's here from Convention and Visitors Bureau. She's getting geared up for the solar eclipse in August of 2017. We can show the solar eclipse, which will be better seen here than just about any place in the United States, on our massive video scoreboard. You know, it even can be used in an outdoor movie theater and who knows what else. I've been approached by some people in tourism who said, you know, above and beyond all of that, I think it's going to be a tourist attraction to have that kind of a scoreboard on your campus here in St. Joe. Well, regardless, I want us all to savor this moment and the many new and exciting experiences we will have as a result of this new phenomenon on our campus. Again, thank you, Mr. Craig, and other benefactors for making it happen. And we will certainly enjoy this for years to come. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vardabedian. Well, when Steve Craig invests in a project, he always looks for partners to help leverage the investment. And his $1.1 million investment in the Spratt Stadium video scoreboard is certainly no exception. The project, which totals $2.6 million, has been funded by Steve and several other generous donors, and I want to recognize them this morning. Will you please stand as I call your name? Al and Gracie Landis. Randy and Mary Herzog. Sunshine Electronic Display. Aramark. Pepsi. Nottoway Valley Bank. And O'Malley Beverage Company. We thank you so very much for your generous donations to help make this video scoreboard possible, and thank you to everyone who has contributed to the Centennial Capital Campaign in support of Missouri Western State University. I also want to recognize at this time the general contractor for the scoreboard, E. L. Crawford Construction Company. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Steve Craig and invite him to the podium to say a few words. Steve, a graduate of Savannah High School, is the founding partner, president, and CEO of Craig Realty Group, which is a full-service real estate development and management company out of Newport Beach, California. One of the malls under Craig Realty Group management is the East Hill Shopping Center right here in St. Joseph. Some of the East Hill staff are with us today. Give them a round of applause. I see you over there. Steve left the area to pursue his education and career, receiving his Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the University of Southern California, but he never forgot his home. He's not only a good force here at Missouri Western, but for several organizations throughout the community. Steve's been an active supporter of many local charities, including the Albright Kemper Museum of Art and the YWCA. He is investing in St. Joseph in a very big way. Every organization that has been a recipient of his vision and generosity has been impacted in a significant way. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me give Steve Craig a warm welcome. Steve.
Thank you. Well, I have to tell you, I'm a little taken aback by the crowd today, because I thought it would just be Jerry and Dr. Vardabedian and maybe Kim trying to get each other to make donations to the university out on the field. But I should have known if it had to do with football and some of the other sports, there was going to be a great turnout, as there was last year when we dedicated the field. So thank you all for coming today, and I really appreciate your attendance and your interest in this great project. Well, I was pleased to hear that a lot of the other people that made this possible were acknowledged today, because it wouldn't have happened without them. It was a big project, and frankly, I wasn't willing to compromise it and do it as like a miniature scoreboard like they did at Northwest Missouri State. Yeah, that would have been wrong. And we know, because we actually bid on that scoreboard, and we politely withdrew from it because we saw that what was being built there. And I know that they've already had some difficulties with it because there wasn't a lot of great planning and design that went into it. And just like any structure, it takes that kind of effort to make it worthwhile. So I'm pleased that we did what we did and how we did it. I think you're going to be pleased with the results that you see once it's up. And I know those people that have said, well, why are those poles still there? And why isn't the board on there? Well, because of the same reason. We actually put the poles in the ground early because we wanted the concrete to cure at the hardest possible strength it could. And some of the engineers and construction people rather in the room probably know that the Hoover Dam, which was built during the Roosevelt administration, is still curing today, even though it was built almost 80 years ago. So we wanted to make sure that we got the maximum strength so that there wouldn't be any settling, there wouldn't be any deviation, because when we slide these cabinets over the top of those poles, it has to be precise. It has to be dead on. And if there had been any movement, that would have been a problem. So that's why it hasn't been done yet, along with a few other good reasons as well. But rest assured, quite soon it will be going up, and a lot of the different pieces that make this thing up will be coming together. Now today we have 8 components of the scoreboard. So that's not the whole scoreboard, just so you know. That would be the center section where it says Spratt Stadium in the black area, straight up if you're looking at the video screen here. The remaining portion, the side panels of it, are being fabricated as we speak, and they'll be shipped separately, and I'm guessing probably another 4 or 5 truckloads will be coming here to St. Joseph to drop them off. But we really wanted to celebrate the first delivery, and that's today. And we're very grateful to all the drivers. I don't know if any of the drivers are in the room today. I know I saw some of them outside. We had 8 phenomenal drivers that made sure that there was no problems along the way, and if there was even the most minute problem, they stopped the truck and patched up something, retightened something back down, and made sure that the delivery got here safe and sound. So please give, a big congratulatory thank you to those guys for that. Additionally, I wanted to thank David Bradley, and David was responsible for putting together the road show that we had that started last Sunday in Southern California and then culminated to the arrival at Ferris's truck stop last night, to be quite candid, and then ultimately here to the complex this morning. But it was David's cooperation and interest that made it possible, and he sent Alex, who was a Fox 26 reporter, out, and he followed the entire trip along with 2 other folks that were with it, Shaylin, and if she's here, I think she is. She's way to the back over there. And Chelsea, wherever she might, I saw her a bit ago, so Chelsea was with him. So there she is over here to my right. I really wanted to go with these guys. I mean, they saw all kinds of great stuff. I don't know if some of you saw some of the stuff that was being sent back, and I mean, I really wanted to put some more twine on that ball of twine because the thing's getting bigger every year. I saw when I was in college, it's like a little thing you bought at the hardware store. And it's really grown a lot since then. But they found a couple other good things along the way, too, to do things with. And I know that there were a lot of people sad that they couldn't join him. So thank you all for doing that and making it so much fun for the arrival that's to be celebrated. Well, many other people had some important roles with it. And it was a lot of the folks that actually built this thing. And if you can believe it, I wish I would have brought one of the pieces of steel. I know that Dr. Vardabedian, on one of his research visits to Southern California, got to see the initial fabrication of some of the frames of it. But it literally started with just a little piece of steel that was welded to another piece of steel that was welded to another piece of steel after that. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it became a lot of big pieces of steel. And now we have this huge 100,000-pound structure that will be installed on this. So I want to thank all the folks that worked on it, our entire team at Multimedia LED in Corona, California. Most of them couldn't be here today. One of them is. I'm going to introduce him in just a second. And, of course, Louis Triani, who is with us today, sitting in the front row. He's the individual that worked with me for the last 5.5 years to design this thing. So thank you, Louis, for all that you did and the sacrifices that you made on behalf of Missouri Western. And there were a lot, by the way. Well, I know we're all anxious to see what's going to happen outside. I'd like to ask Alex Berner right now, who is in charge, the president of Multimedia, and the lead engineer on this entire project, if he would come up and like to say a few words. Thank you very much, folks.
Wow, you are a lot of people here. You can see it from the front row. So we're happy to be here. 8 trucks delivered safely. There are a lot of sleepless nights, I can say. 2 a.m. text messages from Steve and I back and forth about how to properly package this. I'll tell you that we're thinking about it often, up late, make sure it was all good. So they're here. We've got 8 more trucks following up. Almost 2 million LEDs out in the parking lot right now. So we've got to get those safe and off the trucks. That's next. I think one's already strapped and loaded, so we can see that picked up. We've got some of the best LEDs actually I've ever seen, built just for this project, built specifically for it. So to get a little bit technical, this is unique because everybody sits kind of far away from the sign. Everybody's at an angle. So we got LEDs specifically designed for the people in the stands to get a great clear picture. So everybody gets the same picture no matter where they are. That's kind of unique because most billboards, they're designed for looking straight on. This one's designed for looking at an angle. So we really put a lot of time and energy into actually making a great image as well as a great structure that should last over 50 years. And designed for 120-mile-an-hour wind loads, which you guys know that can happen. In California, we don't really get that, but we get earthquakes, and it's kind of the same difference. So we're putting a lot of work into it and a lot of energy. Lewis gets a lot of credit for that, and Steve as well. Just to make sure it gets done right and gets put together properly, so it lasts for a long time, and we can look back on it in 50 years. Wow, it's still there. It looks good. So Liz Tarani's up next, the studio progetti.
Thank you, Alex. It's a pleasure to be here. I've known Steve, and I've worked with Steve for a few years. We started working in 1990 together, so 26 years, which is a testament, I think, to the quality and the stamina that we have for the work that we do. We really seek to develop and design projects that are unique, that are enduring quality, that really stand the test of time, and that will be here for a lot longer than we are. So I do give a lot of credit to Steve for that, because it's his vision that together we're able to develop something that's very unique. The sign itself is big. In the words of one of the presidential candidates, I would say it's huge. People often ask us when we do a large structure like this, where's the shower? Because it's big enough you could live inside some of these buildings. This is our first scoreboard, but we've done quite a few displays. In fact, we stumbled upon Multimedia and several other companies, and we selected them as our partner a long time ago for another project, actually in 1992. And Steve ended up liking the company so much and the quality, he bought the company. So that, again, goes to the testament to how we seek out great things, and we want to make sure that they are partners with us as we continue on our projects. So I'm glad that today we can finally see the project coming together. It has been 5.5 years, and it's great to see that the quality of the project is going to be everything that we say it is. It will be lasting and be the test of time that we all seek to leave as a memorable mark on the world. So.